Hi YouTube, this is Michael Sittler. I am back with another update. So today is day 11. I'm going to go back a little bit over the past few days and what's been going on for you guys. I started the week over again, P90X3 repeats. So day 8 was total synergistics right after my rest day and cold start, and then I added cardio X for my evening time cardio routine. I noticed after that recovery day, it was just what I needed. My energy level was much higher. It was sustained all day long, and my recovery time in the workouts was a lot better. I didn't have to hit pause near as often. I was energetic. I was ready to go. If I did hit pause, it was for a much shorter period of time, and I was ready to get back into it. So, really good improvement for that day. Day 9, I did Agility X and Dynamics. On the Dynamics, I didn't have to hit pause at all, so that was an improvement. Again, my energy level, my cardiovascular health, my endurance in the actual workouts is greatly improved, and it's only week 2. So it was really exciting this week to see that my body's already adapting and really getting into the change. Day 10, which was yesterday, I did Yoga X3 with no pauses, which is a huge deal for me because yoga is like one of my weak spots. I always have to hit pause 1,000 times during yoga, it feels like, and this time I went through the whole thing and didn't touch the remote, so I was psyched about that. And then I did Cardio X. It was late, like 11 o'clock to midnight last night, and I had to pause a couple of times. I was kind of tired. But again, huge improvements in my form and how I'm actually able to do the exercises more correctly. The number of reps I'm able to do, how fast I'm able to perform the exercises, everything just went several notches up this week, and I'm feeling overall so much better on my energy level and what I'm able to accomplish during the day, and my drive to do things during the day is much better. And today, this morning, I did dynamics. Usually that would be my second workout, but it was like 20 something degrees outside, and I'm doing the challenge today, and that requires pull ups, and my pull up spot is outside. So I didn't want to be getting all sweaty doing push ups inside and then running out below freezing to do pull ups. So after this video, I'm actually going to do the challenge. I haven't done it yet today. Um, and I was kind of curious what my weight was going to do with this. New workout routines. The first week or two, a lot of times your weight actually goes up because you're putting on muscle weight and you haven't started using that extra muscle that you're building to burn the fat yet, so you're not burning a ton of fat. Day 4, I weighed myself and I was actually up 5 pounds, so I was at 268.6. And that can be kind of rough. You know, you're doing this diet, this cleanse, all this hard work, and you see the scale go up instead of down. But I knew I just started a new routine. I'm putting on muscle. It's going to turn around. So this morning, I weighed myself, and I hadn't fasted or anything, so I wasn't completely, deprived of extra weight. But I weighed in at 256.4. So it's a huge shift in a very short period of time. I've really started seeing the pounds start melting off as my energy levels shot up. Um, and keto, I think it's doing really good for me. I don't have hunger pains, like, ever. I eat because it's a mealtime, and I feel like my body needs the fuel, but my body isn't telling me, oh, I'm starving, you need to feed me right now. I don't have hunger pains. I hardly ever have cravings. Um, I could skip a meal real easily and not realize that I had done it. And that is so different from how my body used to be. I used to constantly think about food, eat just because I'm bored. Um, and, I'd just put on pounds throwing down junk food and snack food, and I don't feel the urge to do any of that anymore. And I think we're almost to a month now I've been on the diet itself, and I can really feel that the way my body operates has changed. So I have a little video that I took this morning. It's very short. It's just an example meal of what I actually eat. So I'm going to shift on over to that. All right, so this is an example of what a meal could look like. I have homemade guacamole with fresh avocados, good stuff. Tuna with some olive oil mayonnaise, and some deviled eggs that my kids helped me put together. I made like 30 of these because they're just a great high fat snack that I can have anytime. They got a little bit of protein in them. They're a good balance for this diet. There's tons of other things you could do, but this is kind of what an average meal looks like for me. Sometimes I'll supplement olives in for, the deviled eggs or switch things up a little bit. I'll have a whole salad and take a couple of these things out if I'm trying to trim a meal down on calories. So, just some meal ideas for you guys to go along with this. All right, so that was just an example of what I ate this morning. That's not what I eat all the time, but there are certain foods in my diet that I like to incorporate over and over again. Avocados, olives, fish, several different kinds of fish. And, well, I'm drawing a blank on the other one, but that's okay. I do like avocados. They have lots of good oils in them. They're very good for your skin. They're very low in carbohydrate. Olives, the same thing. Fish have some protein in them. Eggs is the other one. Eggs. The egg yolks are really high in fat. The whites have protein in them. If you're getting too much protein, you can leave the whites out. So if I'm eating a lot of fish, then maybe I'll just have the yolks of the eggs and not use the whites. Not a big deal, okay? But I like to incorporate those foods into every meal as much as possible. I'll have salads a lot, so I like to have a lot of raw vegetables, whole vegetables sometimes. But I'll have a salad at least once a day, sometimes twice, and I'll leave out maybe sometimes one of those fat foods so I can get some of the extra fiber and nutrients from the vegetables that I need. Um, I didn't really want to diet at first when I started my weight loss journey. I thought I've just been laying around so much. If I just get up and get active, if I just start exercising, then I'll lose weight and I won't have to change the way I eat. And that was true to an extent, but I was working really hard. I was doing very difficult exercises that were uncomfortable for me. My energy level was all over the place because I wasn't eating right foods. My cardio health wasn't good, and I had a hard time losing weight. I felt like, man, I'm working this hard. I should be losing more weight, but my diet was not where it needed to be. So I realized, if I really want to lose weight, I'm going to have to combine the diet and the exercise. I'm going to have to suck it up and do something I don't want to do. So stable energy has been a big thing with this diet. I don't have really ups and downs and peaks and valleys. I feel energetic almost all the time. My drive to do things is better. My desire to accomplish things is better, especially getting further and further into this diet. It's really changing how my body feels all the time, not just at certain times of the day. Cravings, I really don't have them anymore. I mean, very, very rarely. Even a lot of the comfort foods that I used to crave, I look at them and they just don't seem like they would be that great. Some people may struggle with cravings more than I do. I've got kids in the house that have their snacks and junk food. I go over to other people's houses and, they don't abide by my diet, so obviously they have other foods there. Uh, we've got the holidays coming up. There's going to be all kinds of snacks and junk, but I just really have more of a desire to stick to what I'm doing because I see the long term benefit. I see how it's making me feel, and I just don't have a desire for the other stuff. In addition to that, I would say that I haven't had hunger pains. Like today, I haven't eaten lunch, and I'm well into the afternoon. It's almost 4 o'clock here, and I exercised this morning. I went outside and I did some chores that were kind of heavy work. I'm going to exercise again this evening. I'm going to go help do some carpentry work later. So it's a very active, busy day. My body's doing a lot, but I don't feel hungry. My body doesn't feel like it has to eat. And I really like that about this diet, that I don't have hunger pains. I'm eating smaller, reduced calories. I'm losing weight, and I'm not starving doing it. So I really do like that. I think that it's working well. It's hard to retrain your body, especially when you're at a point where you're very out of shape. I used to get out of breath just getting up out of a chair, and I felt kind of bad all the time. I didn't have a drive to do things. to just go from that to exercising is difficult. It's uncomfortable. You're not good at it. You have to hit pause all the time. You know, it definitely doesn't build up your ego when you're unable to perform the way you want to or the way you think you should be able to. But you have to fight through, especially that first couple of weeks of struggle, of feeling like, oh, I'm doing all this work and I'm not getting much out of it. And it's the same way with diet. To go against those cravings and to purposefully change the entire dynamics of what your body is used to taking in and running off of, it's not comfortable. It's not pleasurable at first. And it does take some work. And our body can really get stuck in improper drives. And what I mean by that, I'm going to refer to it as a dopamine trap. So there's this little chemical in your brain that's called dopamine. And it's kind of like, a lot of people associate it with maybe the high you would get from drugs or the desire that you would have to continue in an addiction. But it's that anticipation drug in your brain. It tells you, oh, you want this, you need this, this will make you feel so good. Something that you're really looking forward to, something that you really feel like is going to make you feel better. And we can do that with all kinds of things. Yeah, it can be drugs, but it can also be food. It can be leisure. You know, I'll feel really good if I just sit around and play a video game for 12 hours and I don't associate with anybody or do anything active. It could be shopping, it could be financial spending. I mean, we could go into every different area of your life where there are dopamine traps that you can get stuck in that are definitely unhealthy and unproductive. So, you know, maybe I feel like I'm only going to feel good if I lay around and do nothing all the time. Well, that's not true, right? Because I know that if I get up and I get active and I push through that desire to have that leisure and that comfort, that my energy level is going to go up, my fitness is going to improve, I'm going to feel like doing more things, I'm not going to be as depressed and anxious. I mean, there can be all kinds of side effects to being inactive. Same thing with diet, you know. My brain may really pump me up with anticipation that if I eat this certain food, it's going to taste so good, it's going to feel so good, it's going to be so rewarding. But then when I eat it, it's not that great. And then I realize that I shouldn't have eaten it, I'm going to feel like garbage later. I mean, it just lets me down. And that's the problem with the dopamine. It's the anticipation drug. Once you actually get what you think is going to make you feel good and that goes away, you realize that it really didn't fill the void that you expected it would, and now you need more. Your brain starts to build up the anticipation again, and you feel like, okay, now I just have to go do more of that, and then I'll feel good. So we can really go down rabbit trails chasing those things in our life, and it's not what we want to do. It's unproductive. So breaking out of that, you're going to find that there's other chemicals in your brain that provide long-term stability. They provide long-term feelings of joy, of peace, of contentment, of energy, of drive. If you're abusing dopamine all the time in your brain, those chemicals aren't firing properly and you're imbalanced. So you end up not feeling great all the time. You've got these big peaks and valleys. Life doesn't feel like it should. When you break out of those dopamine traps and you start doing healthy habits that maybe seem like they'll be very difficult, you actually start to have level energy all the time. You start to feel better. You start to have long-term benefits, long-term improvements, not just little temporary pleasures that might make me feel good for a few minutes. I mean, we're talking overall life betterment. So these things are difficult to do and difficult to maintain, and we're going to go into dopamine traps a lot more in future videos, but I wanted to introduce that to you, that a lot of the things that you really feel like you need in your diet, or, you know, I can't get up out of my chair and do this, I just want to lay around, or, oh, I'm too busy to do that because, you know, you've decided to fill your life with a bunch of unimportant things and not take care of yourself. It's not going to end well. It's not going to be a fulfilling life, and you're not going to be as good as you could be for the people around you. So, thanks for tuning into my video. Be sure to tune in to future updates, and we'll talk some more about topics like this, and I'm looking forward to it.